Hey, this is Xander Fryer with Shit You Don't Learn in College, and today we're going to talk about how to actually achieve the goals that you set. Now, we all know that it's important to set goals, but Chicago Tribune recently did a study and found that 92% of people actually don't accomplish the goals that they set. So that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? So why is that? Now, every single year, I set 5 huge goals. Things like, when I first quit my business, I wanted to get to 100K a month in my coaching business. Things like landing a TED Talk. Things like meeting and marrying my wife. Things like moving into our beach house. Things like owning real estate. Things like having a team of 15 A players. These are all things that have been on my list. These are not small goals. And every single year, I accomplish right around 80%. That's pretty high compared to most people. Now, is that just because I'm better than everybody? No, of course not. I'm pretty filled with holes and very faulty in a lot of different ways that I don't want to talk about right now. But the reason that I'm so successful is because I've actually built a system to make sure that I can be successful long term. So I want to run through the 5 things that help me accomplish 80% of my goals every single year. So step number 1, as soon as you set a goal, the first step, go find mentorship. Go find somebody who's done the thing that you want to do so that you can learn from them on how to do it, all right? Now think of it this way, if you want to bake a cake, right? Would you just go start trying to bake a cake on your own without a recipe, without somebody teaching you how to bake a cake? Probably not, right? And if you did, you'd spend a bunch of money at Whole Foods, you'd put it all together, you'd mix it all up, you'd throw it in the oven, you'd pull it out, and it'd just be a big ball of mush. Why? Because you didn't have a recipe, you didn't have somebody helping show you actually how to do it. So the truth is, you want to learn from somebody that has practical wisdom. This is one of the biggest mistakes that college actually makes. You want to learn from somebody who's done the thing, who's been where you are and gotten to where you want to get to, so they can tell you the practical things you actually need to be aware of. Most people think, oh, if I want to go learn how to XYZ, I should go learn about that in college. Well, then you're learning from a professor, not necessarily the person who's done it. You're learning theoretical knowledge, not practical wisdom. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't want to become a professor, so why would I go learn from a professor? You want to go learn from the person who's accomplished the thing that you want to accomplish. Go find a mentor, pay them if you need to, but learn the practical wisdom and get a plan, get a recipe to actually get you from point A to point B. Now, the second step is getting accountability. Now, you might be able to get accountability from the same person that you got mentorship and a plan from, but you need to get accountability. As humans, we are programmed to need accountability from a young age. Think about it, right? You need to be, your parents hold you accountable growing up, your teachers hold you accountable in school, your coaches hold you accountable in sports. When you're in a 9-to-5, you have a supervisor or a manager that holds you accountable in your 9-to-5 to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Yet when it comes to our own personal goals, or when it comes to entrepreneurship, what's the first thing that we don't have, the first thing that we lose? Accountability. We don't have somebody else holding us accountable to do the things that we need to do. Now, left to our own devices, we would never succeed. I don't care how strong-willed you are or how successful you think you're gonna be. The reality is, until the moment that you're like meditating and levitating off the ground, you're gonna need somebody else to hold you accountable to take the actions you need to take, either dangling a carrot in front of you or waving a stick behind you to make sure that you're getting off your ass and you're putting the action in that's gonna get you to where you need to go. Now, the third thing that you need to focus on if you wanna be successful and achieve your goals is what I refer to as messy action. Now, school teaches us that you need to study, learn, and then act once. You take the test, you deliver the project or the presentation, and then you're done. And you do the same thing at work. You study, learn, and then you deliver the presentation one time, right? And you have to get it perfect. Well, the real world doesn't work that way. In the real world, you actually act, and then you learn from the action and the results that you take. And then you go take another action. And then you learn from the action and the results that you take, and then you go take another action. And it's this iterative process. Act, learn, act, learn, act, learn, act, learn, act, learn, act, learn. Now, the faster that you can go through this iterative loop, the faster you learn, the faster you grow, the faster you start to accomplish the things you really want to accomplish. Notice how I didn't say learn, then act, right? If you wanted to become a professional swimmer, Would you go grab the book, the textbook by Michael Phelps on how to become a professional swimmer, read, then jump in the pool once and expect to be a pro? Hell no! That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard, right? You would get through the book as fast as possible, then jump in the pool, and you'd flounder a bunch and you go, why did I suck so much? You'd go back to the book, you'd say, oh, I didn't do this with my hands. So now you get in and you do it with your hands and you still flounder a bunch, but you go, okay, I go back to the book, I didn't do this with my feet. And you go book, pool, book, pool, book, pool, book, pool, and you go back and forth until, maybe 30 days later, you're actually a pretty damn good swimmer. But it's this act of messy action and then learning from the messy action that actually moves you slowly towards your goal. That's what you gotta focus on. Now, the fourth trick to achieving all of your goals is understanding that you gotta let go of what people think. This is the biggest thing that I learned being an entrepreneur and coaching hundreds of successful entrepreneurs, is that we're not actually afraid of failure. We're afraid of people seeing us fail. We're afraid of judgment. We're afraid of criticism. And that's really what holds us back and prevents us from taking the actions we know we need to take. We're afraid of other people judging us. We're afraid of the shame that might come from it. Now, Dr. David Hawkins talks about shame, and he says, shame is the lowest energetic state that a human can feel, just above death. In fact, it's so close to death that if you think about a lot of people who commit suicide, my best friend committed suicide, you'll learn that shame can actually be more terrifying than death. People will actually fear shame so much, they'll actually take their own life. That's how afraid of judgment and criticism we are innately as humans. Where did this come from? Well, if you think of evolutionary man, right? We grew up in these small tribes of 100 to 200, and if you were socially outcast, if you were ashamed, you would be outcast from the tribe and you would die, right? You would get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, or you wouldn't be able to fend for yourself or get the food you needed to survive, so you would actually die. This is why social shaming is so closely tied to the feeling of death in such a low energetic state that people would actually fear shame more than death. But once you start to realize that you're not gonna die from being ashamed. In fact, if you get socially outcast from one group, it's probably because you didn't want to be there. Maybe that group was not something you were aligned with, and you need to go find your people. And as soon as you start to let go the judgment and criticism of people that do not matter to you, you will exponentially grow your percentage chance likelihood of succeeding in your goals. You have to stop caring about what other people think if you want to accomplish what really matters to you. And the last trick to achieving your goals that I want you to understand, it's a pretty simple one, but it's not easy. Never give up. Never give up. Most people, when it comes to achieving their goals, they have some mismanaged expectations. We live in a microwave world where we see everybody accomplishing their goals quickly and easily on social media. Well, the reality is, if you want to accomplish goals, it's never going to be easy, and it's probably never going to happen as quickly as you want it to. And when you see other people doing it, just remember that that's actually their highlight reel, and you're not seeing the iceberg below the surface. They probably put hours or years getting to that point, or they probably put so many long nights and weekends to get to that point. But you don't see that on social media, right? So we have these mismanaged expectations of what it's gonna take. And because of that, when we don't get there as fast as we want or as easily as we want, we quit. But the truth is, if you understand that it's gonna be hard, if you understand that it might take longer than you want, and if you understand that it doesn't matter and you're not gonna quit, then there's only one outcome. Eventually, you'll get there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button below and let me know you enjoyed it. If you have something specific you want me to cover in a future video, comment that below and let me know as well. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel so you never miss another great video, and I'll see you in there.